Hi, this is Ambi from Board Game Blitz, and today I'm going to talk about my highlights from games I played in August. I track plays using the app BG Stats, Board Game Stats, and that goes through the website boardgamegeek.com. And in August, I had 31 plays of 20 different games, 9 of which were new to me. Most of those plays and games were played with one of my 4-year-old twins. He's been asking to play a lot of games with me recently, which is fun, but it also inflates my play stats. Most of August was summer and we did go on vacation, so we didn't have as many regular game nights with our adult friends, but we did still get to play some new to me games that I had wanted to try. Alright, so first up, let's talk about a couple of review copies I got, which were some of the new to me games. Cyberpunk Unfolds Pop-Up Mystery Escape Game is an escape room game from Key Enigma. I talked about it on the podcast. Sync is a team word guessing game that I got from Rabble Games. I will talk about that on a future episode of the podcast. And Holiday Hijinks number 3, The Pumpkin Problem, is an 18-card escape room game that I got. I actually got the whole set as review copies, so I'm going to be playing through some of those. But this one's a Halloween-themed escape room that I will be talking about on a future episode of the podcast as well. I also got a couple of review copies for kids games. I got ROVE Jr. from Button Shy. If you've heard of ROVE, I've played ROVE before. It's a solo puzzle-y game, and ROVE Jr. is like a kids version of that. My kid we filmed a playthrough, so that will come out in the future, and I'll also make an overview video for it. But it's a pretty good puzzle. And then Dragon Hero is a free print and play game, so I got a review copy of it, but it's also a free print and play. I got a print and play PDF of it for free, which you can too. But that's a children's card game where you're moving dragons around trying to rescue other dragons. So it's another puzzly game. Alright, that's it for review copies, but we went on vacation in August and we stayed at an Airbnb that had a lot of board games, so I was excited to try to get to play some of the board games. I actually made a bonus Ko-fi vlog about all the board games we played in our Airbnb, which actually wasn't that many of the board games. We played like a couple of children's games, and then we played Long Shot the dice game, which I had been wanting to try. I didn't remember that I had played Long Shot, like the regular game, before and didn't really like it. So Long Shot is a horse racing betting game, but I've played Winner's Circle and Ready Set Bet, and I like those ones, but I didn't like Long Shot as much. I think it might be like too complicated for what I want in a horse racing betting game. And Long Shot the dice game gave me a similar feeling. Like, I liked some of it. There's a part where like the horse that moves, other horses move along with it, and one of the actions you can do is mark off other horses to move along with that horse, so I like that part. But there were lots of different things you're doing to like get points, and you can buy a horse, or you can like bet on horses, and different horses gave different powers that like combined with things. And so for me, it felt like less rambunctious than other horse racing betting games where it's just like you're betting on the horses and then cheering for them. So I also am not a big fan of roll and writes in general, and Toby doesn't like dry erase markers, and it uses that. So it's not our type of game, but I know a lot of people like Long Shot the dice game, and I'm glad I got to try it. Also on vacation at my parents' house, my parents and I played Pictionary with my kids. So my kids are 4-year-old twins, and this was my first time playing Pictionary with them. We played kind of a cooperative version. We sometimes play like Pictionary at home where we write a word and then they draw it. But this was their first time playing with the actual Pictionary cards and the board. And they're like trying to learn how to read now. So we played where my parents were guessing. We were all on the same team. I was like looking at the cards and then giving them the cards and giving them words that I thought they could read and would know, because some of the words are obviously a little bit more complicated than what they can read or something that they wouldn't know. So I would filter the cards first, then give it to my kid, and they would take turns. So one of them would read and like let me know what they think it is, and I would help them read if they were having trouble, and then they draw it, and then my parents and the other twin would guess. And they actually did pretty well, and then they would roll the die and move around the board, and so we got the piece all the way around the board, and it took an hour, but they were both playing and having fun, so that was really neat, and I really liked that experience playing Pictionary with my kids. So I think that was it for the highlights of the games we played on vacation, but before we get to the games that we played on game night, let's hear a word from our very first sponsor of this video.
Hi, I'm Chaz Marler, Watch It Played host and board game enthusiast, but inevitably, I spend many of my game nights like this.
Well, I don't know. Well, what do you want to play?
So, to help me and my game group spend less time choosing and more time playing, I went and made a website called GameNightPicks.com. Now, we can suggest games ahead of time and vote on which ones to pick to play next. More time together, less time staring at the game shelf, just standing there, just wondering what to play next. The website just launched and is open to everybody, including you. You're welcome to use it too. Schedule public and private game nights, discover suggested games and make recommendations, vote on which ones to play next, set your personal preferences for each title, indicate your level of expertise, record your plays, manage your collection, and more stuff too, actually, now that I've been busy. So follow the link in this video's description to GameNightPicks.com. It's free to start using, and I hope the site helps you find your next game night picks and play more games with more people.
We tend to have that indecision problem a lot at our game nights. So I signed up for an account and I even hosted a game night. I just need friends on there. So make sure you sign up with the link below. But for our game night in August, I think we only had one, I'm not sure, but we got to play a couple of the games that I'd been wanting to play and were on my want to play list, so I was excited for that. The Gang is a game that just came out at Gen Con. It's a cooperative card game based on poker, Texas Hold'em. So if you know the rules of poker, that's not cooperative. You're betting and bluffing to see who has the best hand, and you like keep bidding up after each hand. In Texas Hold'em, you each have 2 cards, and then there's a shared deck in the middle where I think 5 cards are going to come out. 3 come out, and then another one, and then another one. In between of those, there's always a round of betting. In this cooperative version, the Gang, instead of like betting and bluffing, you're trying to guess the order of everyone's hand at the end. So you're trying to guess who has the best hand and the second best, all the way to however many players you have. And for each round, where there's usually betting in the competitive version, in the Gang, you're picking a token 1 through however many players. We had 5 players, so 1 through 5 to say like what you think your rank is. So if you think your rank is the best, you pick the 5. So you have like pair of aces in your hand at the beginning, you take the 5, and then someone will take the 1 if they only have like a 2 and an 8 or something. So after the cards come out and your hand is improving, you can like increase your number, and that's how you're communicating, just by what number you're going for. And so people can kind of see like, oh, they increased their number. At first they thought they were high and then they went down, or like first they thought they were low and went up, so they probably got a pair here when this card came out. So it was kind of interesting. I don't play poker because I don't like gambling and I don't like bluffing. So this took that out of it. It makes it cooperative. So I like this more than poker, I think. My husband, Toby, likes playing poker a lot. He used to play poker like a lot online. And so like he knows a lot more about the hands and probabilities and stuff. So at first, like the coins he was taking was based on his probability of having a good hand, which like I don't understand as much because I'm not as familiar with the poker hands. But after we played a bit, it got kind of easy, like figuring out what people had, because we could tell when people had a pair or something. So the first game, we lost the first 2 rounds because we weren't like mind melded yet, but then we won 3 rounds, and the goal is to win 3 rounds in the game. And the next game we played with advanced rules, where you have like cards that come out. If you win a round, it makes it harder, and if you lose a round, it makes it easier. It's like different things that happen, like you have to guess exactly what hand the person has that wins, and we won again. So it seemed like it got kind of easy, like figuring out what hands people had based on what they were going for. But it seems like it would be cool for a group of poker players to play, to get into like cooperative board games. And then I also got to play Wilmot's Warehouse. So my friend gets these new games and brings them over so we get to try them. Wilmot's Warehouse is a video game that I had played a little before. It's like an organizational video game where you're trying to organize blocks, and then customers come and it's timed and you have to go get those blocks, and there's a big warehouse. So they made a board game out of it. And the board game version is a cooperative memory game. And I think it like translates the video game pretty well, because like the theme is the same. You're trying to deliver to customers at the end, but the way it works is you're doing like this mind map memory. So you have piles of icon tiles, and you take one at a time, you look at it, and you say, okay, this I'm placing here in the grid, and you kind of have to remember where it is, but you can remember it by telling a story. And then there's piles for each day of the week, and like the Tuesday through Friday or whatever have these cards that add challenges. Like one of them is like, only you can look at it, or only like a couple people can look at it and the other people don't, and then you describe it to everyone else. Or there was one where you don't look at it, you just place it before there's any discussion, other people see it, and then after you place it, then you have to say like, okay, the other people tell you, okay, it was that, so where you placed it, based on where you placed it, this is how we're connecting the story. And then after everything's placed, you're kind of like remembering where everything is based on the story you told. And then the customers come, and those are cards that match the icons. And then there's a timed phase where you're placing them all out as fast as you can. And then based on how long that took and how many you got right, you get a score. So I enjoyed this. I still remember some of the story from the one we played. It started with a dog bowl, and it came from ice cream from a factory, and the dog was wagging its tail. The dog watched TV with glasses and then got dizzy and got 3 eyes. He went outside, there was a ghost. And so like, and you see I'm gesturing, like I remember the direction of where each thing was to on the thing. So I think this was a fun memory exercise. I think it would be fun to play with my kids. So I hope my friends bring it again to play with my kids sometime, because my kids like making stories and they like looking at icons and saying what they are. So this would be a good game with kids. Oh, and speaking of kids, I forgot. Also on vacation, I did an escape room game with my kids from Escape Kit. This is not a board game, so I don't have it logged, but I did the museum-themed escape room. It's a print-at-home escape room from escapekit.com. The game is for ages 4 to 10, I think. It has parts for ages 4 to 6, or then 6 to 10 or something. So I printed out the one for younger kids, and my kids liked it, and they were actually able to solve some of the puzzles on their own. There was some reading that I read to them and like told them what the goal was, and then they were able to do it. So that was kind of cool. There were a couple of things that didn't work too well, but then I was moderating, so I could kind of like help make sure they got the right answer. But yeah, it's exciting getting to introduce them to escape rooms more. I had talked about some escape rooms for preschoolers in a previous video, and they had done another one from this company, but that one was more like activity based. So this one had puzzles and was more like an actual escape room. All right, so those were my highlights of August. Let me know in the comments what your favorite plays of the month were, and if you have any other questions about any of the other games I played. Oh, and check out our new merch. I got a new shirt here that I designed. I completed the 10 by 10 challenge, and all I got was this shirt. It's in a meeple shape. So you can check out those and also our regular merch if you want to get t-shirts or stickers or something with our logo on it. Thanks for watching Board Game Blitz. Bye.